left behind, and I want to thank you for jumping in today. Looks like I'm flying solo. Dave and Vinny are off running projects for our clients, and I can tell you that they're missing being here with me today. So, got a really exciting topic, and today I might not go the entire 30 minutes, but I promise you that the information I'm going to hitch up with is going to be just going to be packed and valuable. So what I'm going to say is that it's simple and everybody knows it. COVID has changed so much and so quick for all of us that it's really hard to keep up. It's really difficult to make the changes that are necessary to meet the needs that we have in today's society. Whether you're trying to do business or adjust for your kids or who knows, right? Your finances. COVID has just really turned us all for a loop. And I'm not telling anybody anything you don't already know. I mean, this is not news to us. This has been around since February in some form or fashion, and longer in some places. It's been a blow to a lot of businesses. It's been an incredible growth boon for many businesses. And so, but next year we should be well prepared for this. I don't think that this COVID COVID things are going to go away anytime soon. I think what's going to happen is I think we're gonna see transitions of it. We're going to see some ebbs and flows, just like we're kind of seeing. In the summertime it was kind of gone away a little bit. Now it's back again at school time, and then kind of it growed to a point at which maybe we had to be concerned about Thanksgiving and such, right? And so Vinny's commenting on my backdrop, by the way. He says, like the backdrop better than the black curtain. So thanks, Vinny. I really appreciate that. But anyway, it's been an ebb and flow, and I think we're seeing a nice, and I don't mean nice in a positive way. Nobody wants it, but I think what we're seeing is an uptick, and I don't think that's going to come down at least until springtime. Even if we put on all the controls, I hope we don't go back to mass quarantines like we did, but that's a possibility. But I think that it's changed for businesses. It's changed the way we have to handle our customers. By the way, I'm flying solo. Sorry for drinking the water. I get to do all the talking today, which Vinny and Dave would make some funny comments about right now. Anyway, it's changed our consumer, especially for law firms. And I will tell you that it is my thought, and Vinny, Dave, and I have been talking about it. I've talked with other people about it. It's my thought that consumers are spoiled. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's been a long time coming. It's just been gradual. Now it's just been, exponential growth, logarithmic growth. And so what do I mean by that they're spoiled? Well, the way they expect to do business nowadays is different, right? We've got the DoorDashes, we've got the contactless this, that, and the other. We've got the DoorDash alone has tripled their deliveries, right? I read that this morning. We've got contactless meetings, virtual, all this stuff, and it's my impression, my perception, my contention that, and I'm going to share this with you. I got a little PowerPoint. I'm kind of embarrassed, right? It's my contention that the first lawyer that spoils the client during what I call the scroll and swipe. And what's the scroll and swipe? You see me down in the lower corner. I'm scrolling, swipe, right? Whatever app you're using. The first lawyer that spoils the client during that interface, right? During this, okay, right here, we're not looking anywhere else anymore. I mean, we're not really on our computers as much. We're on these probably 75% of the time that we're not at work when we're looking for information. My father-in-law, who's 75 years old, it's a big joke. It's the Hey Siri, right? And he has a question for it over anything. My mother-in-law wants to have a conversation with Siri. And we're iPhone users in most of my family, so don't insult. So the first lawyer that learns how to spoil that client during their scroll and swipe, even before they make the call, right? even before that happens, is going to be the attorney that's going to win, right? And so, the thing about it is that the consumer today wants a DoorDash approach for law. It's kind of sad. It's an incredible industry, highly professional, right? Highly educated people doing very important work that in a sense, we have to kind of come down to the standards of the client's expectations. I mean, it used to be the suit and tie and all that stuff. And even me, I'm not wearing a suit and tie in most of my meetings with lawyers any longer. I mean, most of them, have become less legally, right? And more, Vinny, let me do my show. I love you, Vinny. Thank you so much. What we've become is a place where we have to meet that client expectation differently, and they don't want to deal with the suit and tie as much. They want to deal with, the DoorDash approach to law. So we have to spoil them. We have to meet them and their needs and their requirements. And we're going to cover all of this. And again, one of the things about, I didn't say it, and Vinny will beat me up for it because I didn't say it in the beginning. This is about keeping your law firm competitive. That's the pillar today. We got 3 pillars: making your law firm competitive, keeping your staff and attorneys productive, and getting you new client calls. Well, this is new client calls and keeping you competitive, because if you don't pay attention to this in 2021, you're going to lose. All right. You're going to lose because you're not going to get the call. Instead, somebody else, the lawyer that learns this is going to get the call. So we need to be meeting the client where they're at, and they're looking for the DoorDash approach. I don't know what that means. That means a number of things, but everybody has to interpret it different, and it's different for every area of law. But I'm going to go through a couple of examples. Our clients are looking for white glove expectations even before they call. They want to be spoiled before they talk to anybody. So what do I mean by spoiled? Okay. Well, it's simple. If I can't do it on this to start and find out all the information that I need to find out before I make the call, before I even pick it up off the phone and dial a number, even if I have to dial a number, I may not want to dial that number. If I can't book something online with somebody, if I have to make a phone call to schedule a consult, if I have to go to your office to have a meeting, right? Then guess what? 2021, the client expectation isn't going to meet what you're delivering. All right. You need to either stick with your guns, which is, you can do that. You're welcome to do that. And it is definitely a business approach. And I respect that. And I think that a lot of businesses have that place, right? But if you're wanting to meet the client where they're at, then some of the things that I'm mentioning here have to happen. So online booking. I mean, you got Calendly, you got Microsoft Bookings, which is part of Microsoft 365. All these things can be turned out. They can be put in email signatures. They can be put on your website. They can put on your Facebook. You can schedule with Facebook. You can have, and here's another example. I don't have it in my PowerPoint today, but you should be doing Facebook Messenger with your clients and potential prospects, right? If somebody wants to talk to you about a particular area of law, then you should be ready to have that conversation, at least an initial part of it, not giving legal advice, okay, through Facebook Messenger. Someone in your office should be monitoring that. Or you should have a chat functionality on your website. So if they do leave social media platform, they go to a website that has, your website that has a chat functionality that somebody is watching over all day long. If they go to, by the way, I don't have it on here, Google My Business. If you don't remember anything from this today, GMB is definitely the thing that you must remember. Every law firm needs a GMB, a Google My Business site. Google is all the search is becoming local to Google when it comes to this type of service, right? Domestic, estate, bankruptcy. I mean, nobody's looking for somebody, out of town or anywhere else, unless, of course, maybe you're in a different area of law like business or something like that. But it's almost Google My Business is a big one. So these are some of the things you're going to have to give them white glove even before they pick up a phone, right? Even before you talk to them. The lawyer that hits this, the lawyer that gives people the option to not talk to anybody, unfortunately, that's not what we're used to. The not talk to anybody to schedule something, that's the lawyer that's going to win. By the way, I'm not suggesting let them openly just schedule it. I'm not suggesting you don't do a follow-up phone call after it's been scheduled. I'm saying you give them the ability, you put parameters around it. All these programs and options have ways to buffer time and make sure they don't grab just anything on your calendar. I strongly recommend it. Another thing, you need to tout on your website that you have pivoted. And I'm going to give you a big example that I wrote up that I showed Dave last night, and he just freaking loved it. If you don't communicate with your clients and let them know, hey, we're different, they're not going to know. And it's not different in that we're a full service law firm. We give great customer service. Our offices are clean. That's not going to get it. First off, what's the message say that our offices are clean? You got to come to our office. They don't want to hear that message first. Instead, they want to hear, you don't have to come to my office. You can book things online. We can text message and so on and so forth. So your website absolutely has to tout the differences right away in your law firm, even on your social media advertising. If you're advertising on Facebook or LinkedIn or Instagram or wherever you're, maybe even TikTok. By the way, if you don't think you need to advertise on TikTok, you're wrong. You're missing on a big market right now. So you need to pivot. You need to tout about it. You need to tell about it. So that's another way. Text. What did I say? How much time do you spend away from this, right? I don't spend that much time away from my phone. It's always around me. It's either in my pocket, on my desk, on the counter, near me when I'm lifting or something like that, or in my pocket when I'm in my running snack when I'm running or something like that. These aren't far away. And if you don't find a way to text with your clients, the communication that they're expecting from you to be higher is going to be lower, right? I'm not suggesting you text all the time with your clients. Not at all. I'm not suggesting that you give them your cell phone number. I'm not suggesting that at all. But the easy ways to communicate must be there for you. So we use voice over IP system. That voice over IP system, as well as some do, have the ability so that you have a direct dial at your office that people can use to text with you. They don't have your cell phone. You can make sure that they can't call that number after hours if you don't want to take calls after hours. But they can text it, right? And so that you can get their text messages without them getting your cell phone, and the ability for them to call you during the time in which you want them to call you, you can control, right? Or not let them call you in the hours that you don't want them to call you. You're in control of that. And there's a number of other mechanisms that are out there. The other thing is with the bookings I mentioned, it goes along with the text. If they set up a booking, they want reminders. It's on us to remind them. I know it doesn't make sense. And this, again, the word spoiled is the key word on all of this. It doesn't make sense, in my opinion, that we don't send them notifications about their meetings that are coming up with us. It's just a good time to do so. I got a question here. How do you track? So Jill Nelson's asking, how do you track and remember what was said? Oh, well, you know what? I mean, that's up to you, Jill, to journal. You've got to be really good with it. There's a number of applications that can help you with that. We covered some time management software. I think it was 2 weeks ago, if I'm not mistaken. Jill, it's a good question. I would actually refer you back to that. And what I'll do is, you're coming from LinkedIn. What I'll do is in the comments of the video, I'll put in a link to that video, so it'll give you some ideas. That's going to be a challenge. You have to track it. You have to be vigilant with what is said in text. Obviously, no legal advice in text. We're just communicating, hey, we have to have a call, and we have to notate that. Also, Jill, probably another thing is, once you have that text, it's probably a good idea to journal that in whatever billing software or case management, practice management software you have, like a Cosmolex or whatever it is. So I hope that answered your question. Comment back if it did not. But again, text messaging, big thing, right? Be very careful. Of course, no legal advice during text messaging. Quick response to calls. What does response mean? Do I got to call you back? Not anymore. My wife made a joke on Facebook, a little meme that's been floating around. It's really funny to me, and I'll say this much: it makes perfect sense. And Nikki, thanks for this. Last night, I planned on using it today. Jill, I'll answer your question in a second. If you can text me, don't call me. Right? It's so funny, right? That people don't want to talk on the phone, especially millennials, don't want to talk on the phone as much as they want to text. So, Jill, I'll comment back to you on that. Jill's asking, "Who am I? This is great, and would love to like contact information. Love to help you out." Okay, and I'll talk to you soon about it. So, quick response to calls. You don't have to call them back. That is not necessary any longer. And so think about it like this from a client's perspective. Not only are you not necessarily calling them back and getting into a long drawn out conversation that you potentially have to lose time on, okay, which you can't necessarily bill, or maybe you do bill and you feel guilty about billing and your client's upset about it. Instead, you do a quick text to respond to them. Maybe you schedule that call. You know what? That's a great question. I'll answer that tomorrow. Okay. How about 15 minutes, grab my booking link and schedule something. And now they should expect a bill, right? For that little bit of time. Okay. So responses don't have to be, email back. It doesn't have to be text back. It doesn't have to be, call back. Even if it's on Facebook Messenger, something quick and dirty. We have a rule in our office: schedule, because it sets expectations, right? And so if somebody wants a response to something, the best thing to do is either answer it and get rid of it for them, handle the situation, or schedule with them. So Bill, thanks a lot for the, I really love giving out this advice. This is valuable, I think. And we've consulted for law firms for 25 years, and we're always happy to help. Bill, thanks a lot. So another recommendation: if you want them to not come to your office, you need to have electronic signatures. I know that this is tricky in certain areas of law. I know that certain jurisdictions are really tricky, but where it's possible, get it. Okay. If you can do it in your fee agreement, for crying out loud, you should do it on your fee agreement. How simple is that to just send a fee agreement to somebody and say, electronically sign it? They can do it again on their phone. If they've got to open up a computer, you've lost them. These things right here, before I go any further, what I want to point out is these things are customer touch points, critical touch points in many cases. Think about what the flow of this right here. I'm saying before they call, you need to be considering the touch points. How am I making it easier and lowering the barrier of entry for them to want to do business with me as a lawyer? Okay. How am I making them feel about me wanting to take care of them and meeting them where they're at instead of them coming to me, right? So, there's that. Giving them ways to communicate once they've become a customer, giving them ways to work with us, while we're in the middle of a matter with them. It's irregardless of what area of law you're practicing. Evaluate the touch points for your clients, meeting them where they're at, lowering the barrier of entry for them, making it as simple as possible. I'm sorry, it's as simple, right? Everyone's got one of these. If you're not able to transact through this, you're going to be killed in 2021 and beyond, right? It's moving closer and closer to this is all we're going to do anymore. I do client calls, FaceTime meetings. I do not FaceTime, but Teams meetings on this, Zoom meetings on this. Everyone wants to live through this anymore. That is what we're doing, and that's how we're living these days. Electronic signatures all the way. So if you can't do it, I get it. If you got to have an ink signature, that's the way it goes. That certain areas of law require it, but evaluate it, look up the case law, and figure out if it's required or not. In some cases, what we used to think it was have now changed. So I would strongly recommend DocuSign, Adobe Sign. If you're looking for PDF software, there's a great one. It is, Nitro includes a document signing, online document signing feature in its PDF software as part of its service. These are all great things. If it's a confidential document, you need to make sure that you're doing some kind of mechanism that is encrypted also. So it's not enough that it's one thing for a fee agreement. Maybe that doesn't have to be encrypted, but if we're having people sign, some confidential information, then we need to go through electronic means to get that signed. And there's a lot of services out there. And the other thing is, if you can do it in a form, get it done. If I need to know if I'm in bankruptcy and I need to know what your properties are, if I'm in estate planning or divorce and I need to know what your assets are, don't have somebody type it up, put it in a form. If you're in Microsoft 365, it's got a forms application that you can create and send to somebody. And you can create the same form and use it over and over and over and over, and it's secure and no one else sees anyone else's information. And if you can do it in a form, get it in a form. And Dave, my partner Dave, and that's on the show with me, he's actually taken documents and created fillable forms and merged documents off of certain inexpensive form fillable web tools, right? So that you can just generate documents off it. That'll make you more efficient, which then brings your cost down. Okay. Oh, by the way, I don't want to talk about cost too much, but alternate billing arrangements are key. The hourly rate might not be the best way to go anymore. I know that's a tricky one, but there's a lot of studies on this, and this isn't a new one. The hourly rate is kind of a difficult one. I hate to say it, in certain areas of law, people expect lawyers to be more like the McDonald's. And here's a number one, and you can get it for $5.99 or something like that. It's sad, but true. And it's another way we need to meet our clients where they're at. So I'd recommend looking at that too. Fillable forms and whatever you can do online to get them to fill out. Heck, if you're looking for a referral, send them an email or a text message asking for a referral. And if they know somebody, send them this link for this form that they could fill out. That's what you got to do nowadays. And then finally, I think this is funny. I remember my grandma before she passed away. I was 14 when she passed. And I just remember the fond memories I had with her, taking me in class, being a chaperone in my class zoo trips, or spending, times at the park. If you're from Cincinnati and Clifton, there's some parks on the hillsides and stuff like that. Echo Park, all these places. I remember those things. And I remember, how she made me feel, right? I felt just loved. I felt appreciated. I felt like I was the most important thing in the world to her. And I know that my kids feel the same way with their grandparents. Like, they're the most important thing in the world. And so our goal, in a way, is to make our clients feel that way. You're the most important thing in the world to us. I run a basketball league. I used to run a basketball league. I haven't done it for 2 years. I miss it. But at the end, we had an award celebration. And there was 2,000 people at the award celebration, and I would MC, and there's demands this way, that way, everybody pulling at you, and what would happen was that people would want to talk to you afterwards, right? And they would ask, hey Jim, I got a question. Can I ask you this question or that, this, that, and the other? And I'd be moving a mile a minute, 2,000 people all trying to talk to me at the same time. After the show, can I get a gift? My kid's not here and my other kid's not here. Can I take something for somebody? I get it, right? Hey, tell me about your church, whatever. And this person walked up to me. I remember her, Carrie. She was wonderful. She said the most amazing thing to me. And it was probably the best compliment that anybody can get. And if this is the goal right here, right now, this is how you want your clients to feel. She said to me, listen, Jim, I know you're running a mile a minute. I know you got a dozen other things and people to talk to. But I just want to tell you that when you talk to me, and as I notice you talking to other people, you make them feel, and me, you make me feel like I'm the only most important thing to you. That's the goal. That's how grandma and grandpa used to make us feel, right? And so that's what I would say that we want to target, is trying to make our clients feel this way. So I told you I've got some website copy. Let me go ahead and pop over to it. Oh, great. Wonderful. Okay. Where's that copy? All right. Kind of embarrassed here. Give me a second. I'll pull up the copy here for you. Right there it is. And boom. So this is how we tout on our website, how we have pivoted and how we're trying to meet our clients where they're at. Look, great big headline. Shouldn't be finding legal representation be as easy as booking an initial consult on your phone, typing with your thumbs while you're laying in bed or swiping through Facebook? Isn't that where people are at nowadays? I'm gonna just tell you when I'm, I know this is, I won't go there. I was gonna say something and you might want to, but you know what? When I'm sitting somewhere and I'm doing nothing, I'm on this. When I'm laying in bed before I go to sleep, I probably do a few things on this. When I wake up in the morning, I probably do a few things on this. Matter of fact, I do a lot of things on this before I hop out of the bed. I kind of have a routine that I go through, and so people are on this all the time. And when you're on break, when you're at a restaurant and you're waiting for your food and maybe you're waiting for somebody, people are on these all the time. Shouldn't finding legal representation meet that where it's at? I mean, when do people do their stuff? You need to think about your law firm and when is it that someone is trying to communicate to you? When are they looking for you? Think about their journey. Well, they're interested in looking for a law firm. Maybe, COVID is I read an article this morning on how COVID is really hitting the divorce industry, good and bad. The jury's kind of both ways on this, right? And I'm not a big fan of divorce unless you're a divorce attorney. I'm a fan of it for you, but divorce is sometimes not straight. Sometimes, anyway, I won't get into it, but I'll say it's with everybody locked in, they're either coming together or they're hating each other more and more. They need to split apart. And so, when are they looking at this stuff? So shouldn't it be as easy as getting your law firm while somebody's laying in bed swiping through Facebook? Should your Facebook ad talk about your law firm? Or should it talk about this kind of stuff to them? Hey, stop swiping for a second. We know you're looking for a lawyer to do an estate plan. You're looking for a lawyer to help you with a bankruptcy or answer some questions. Stop swiping for a second and pay attention. Not, oh, we do great law for, great bankruptcies. If you're in trouble and you need help, and we're the best and so on and so forth, full service and so on. Nobody wants that anymore. They want this. Now, then you want to differentiate yourself. Differentiate yourself? Are you tired of law firms that make you come to your office? Boom. Already you've said, you don't have to come to our office that much. Already you said contactless without saying contactless. I'm not a big fan of buzzwords. Done with law firms that act like you're lucky to be their client instead of them feeling lucky to have your business. So we got to turn it around. See, clients, sometimes it depends on the law, but clients, listen, just like my business, nobody wants to spend money in law unless they have to, right? Nobody wants to spend money on technology unless they have to. I get it, I get where they're coming from. But when they do, don't we want them to feel like we're lucky to have them? I know some law firms that I've dealt with in the past that, man, their clients feel like, look, I had a software company we used to work for. They were great software, okay? We used to sell their software. They had the best software in the world. But the problem with the software company was you were lucky that they made the software for you to use. That's how they acted. You don't want that. You want your client to feel like you're blessed to have them as a client. Then finally, we understand your expectations. We're meeting your needs. COVID's changed everything. Look at all that. If that's not the kind of stuff that you're pushing out there somewhere, and don't use my copy, I would appreciate if nobody uses my copy exactly. But certainly this speaks to a client. No, it's uncomfortable for us. It's not what we would normally say, but that's what people need to hear. And if we don't try to change how we talk to people next year, if we don't do differently and we do like everyone else, then guess what? Somebody's going to beat us to the punch here. Somebody's going to get us, and we're not even going to know. The goal is to get them on the scroll and swipe, not on the call. You see, you got to have something else when they call. But the goal is to get them to call you and nobody else. Your goal in 2020 should be to get them to stop and call you. Not even call. Sorry, I misspoke. Stop and look at you and give them options to communicate with you. That's your goal in 2020. So, well, listen, I've run out of stuff to talk with, and the guys would probably be proud of me because I think I'm pushing up right about 11 o'clock. Sorry, my clock is under my microphone. And I think they'd be really proud to know that we're going to end on time. Vinny and Dave, I hope this was, me ending on time was in honor of you guys not being here. I hope you felt that way. But listen, we're here at No Law Firm Left Behind. No Law Firm Left Behind is not a business. It's a LinkedIn group. Okay. Go join a LinkedIn group. I'll throw up the caption for the No Law Firm Left Behind group on LinkedIn. I wish it was a pretty link, but it's not a pretty link. So it's a little bit more difficult one. You can go search hashtag No Law Firm Left Behind on LinkedIn. So it's a group of legal professionals that are just trying to help each other out. We're giving advice. They're helping each other out, sharing content and so on and so forth. Absolutely no selling in the group. The goal of No Law Firm Left Behind, as I said in the beginning, is to help you be more competitive. There you go, Vinny and Dave. I'm going to go over a minute. Be competitive, right? We want you to law firm to be competitive. If you're doing great, you need to consider to be doing better, and competitiveness is important for that. If you're not doing so great, we want to help you and give you ideas so you can be more competitive and do great. We want to keep your staff and attorneys working. Let's keep them there. Let's keep them productive and efficient and help them so that they don't have to go find other jobs because your law firm is struggling. And while they're working for you, they're helping you make as much as you can for your clients, right? And then finally, the goal of No Law Firm Left Behind is to help you get new clients calling. So listen, it's been a blast. Thank you so much for watching today. Thanks for the great comments. If you like this video, at some point, thanks a lot, Jill. I really appreciate it. Jill says, great talk, very useful. Listen, like below, okay? Please, by all means, like below. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, No Law Firm Left Behind, and by all means, share the video to as many people as you want. But if nothing else, go join the LinkedIn group, and we'll see you again next Tuesday at 10:30 a.m. Man, I wish I remembered what we're covering next weekend, but that's okay. We'll have a great topic. I'll put it in the comments, and we'll get the show out. So have a great week. Take care.